So trying this one on IGTV or posting it to YouTube, just because the IG story thing seemed to be kind of weird yesterday. So we had some people that wanted to request stuff with their core and abs, right? Strengthening that. We had crow pose, dolphin, and some neck focus stuff. So we'll try and pack all that in. If you're joining us, if you're at home, thanks for practicing, and we'll get started. It's an hour, power hour, right? So an hour power yoga. We'll start either like we have been in child's pose or in a sukhasana, like a cross-legged seated position. My wife, Katie, will start in child's pose, right? And I'll just start in a cross-legged position at the front of the mat so you can kind of maybe hear me better or just see both options, right? So just take some time, right, to shift around, to get settled on the mat. Right, if you're in that cross-legged seated position, maybe you kind of wiggle around in the hips. If you're in child's pose, maybe you want to really fan the fingers out and press the hips a little further back over the heels. Right, and then once you shift and adjust and find that pose that you can kind of rest in and be comfortable in, take a moment to gently close the lips and just to press pause and observe. Right, to observe the breath, without trying to change it, without trying to deepen it or make it more rapid, just kind of observing how it naturally shows up. Right? And then also observing whatever it is that you're bringing to the mat. Right? Observing maybe any thoughts, feelings, or emotions you might be bringing into the practice. And again, not trying to change them, just identifying them and noting them. Right, and then from this place of pause and observation, now we'll switch that attention to the breath in an effort to start to deepen it and manage it. Right, so as you inhale with your lips gently closed, feel that air draw in through the nose as you breathe into the backs of the shoulders, filling up the belly and the entire torso. And then as you exhale, feel the opposite of that, right? Feel everything move back towards the spine. Feel the body, if you're in child's pose, surrender a little bit heavier onto the mat. And if you're cross-legged seated like me on the exhale, just kind of feel yourself rest into your seat a little bit more. All right, and then over the next 5 rounds of breath, that's all that I'd ask that you do. Give yourself that permission just to observe breath. Just your inhale and exhale. Right, and when the mind starts to wander, because it will, and starts to worry about maybe what's coming next, or starts to worry about the virus, or what happened this week, whatever that may be, can you ground down through your breath and keep coming back to that throughout this hour? All right, and then from this place of breath awareness, now we'll expand the awareness into the entire body. All right, so can you bring your attention to the boundaries of your skin? Can you feel the skin on your clothes and those points of pressure where you're resting into the mat? Can you visualize breathing with your whole body, right? Like every pore was drawing in oxygen, right? And like every pore was releasing tension on the exhale. And then from that expanded awareness, ask yourself, what would nurture whatever it is that I'm bringing to the mat? All right, so maybe you're bringing a lot of positive vibes to the mat, and what would kind of keep those going? Right? Or maybe you're bringing some difficulties to the mat, right? And what would nurture those? All right, so with that answer in mind, we'll all take a big, massive breath in together, and then a big, loud breath out. Very nice. So, tabletop pose, either from your cross-legged seated position or from your tabletop, or from your child's pose. All right, so in tabletop, we'll fan the fingers out, we'll hug the forearms in together slightly, press the knees directly under the hips, and then from here, just kind of rock the head side to side and feel the neck grow out of the shoulders as it moves towards the front of the mat. And then from there, kind of wiggle your hips a little side to side, feel the tailbone move towards the back of the mat. All right, and then hold some stillness. Feel that strong, engaged flat back as you hug those forearms in together. Very nice. And then from here, inhale that right leg straight back behind you and that left arm straight in front of you. All right, from there, thumb and heel high as you can. And then on your exhale, elbow and knee connect under the body. Inhale, reach it out, expand. Exhale, draw it together and connect. Inhale, expand. Exhale, draw forward. And then move on your breath. Take about 3, maybe 5 more. Right, if you're moving a little slower, right, as long as you're moving on your breath, that's what we're here for, right? So just start to link that breath and movement. Maybe you're moving a little quicker, right? But just make sure your breath is as deep and rhythmic as you can maintain. All right, finishing up that last round, maybe 1 or 2 more. And then once you finish, re-extend right where you came from, and then find your tabletop pose. From there, we'll take a round of cat and cow. So inhale, drop the belly as you look up and find cow. And then exhale, press, arch, and round it into cat. Slowly coming back to that neutral spine and tabletop, and then firing that left leg straight back behind you, right arm straight in front of you. Thumb and heel as high as you can on the inhale, and then exhale, draw it together under the body. Feel the core contract. Inhale, reach it out, expand. Exhale, draw it forward, connect. Inhale, length. Exhale, strength. And then about 3, maybe 4 more here. Make sure you're using the thumb, index, and middle finger knuckle of the left hand. Right, and you're not just collapsing weight into that left wrist. We want to use that whole hasta bandha, that whole hand through the whole practice. Finishing up about 1 more round here. And then re-extend where you came from. Back into a tabletop pose. From tabletop pose, let's take that big, strong cow. And then that big, expressive cat, blowing that air out through the mid-back. From there, back to tabletop pose. Tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. All right, so first one, right? We're bending knees side to side, shaking head yes or no. All right, and just kind of moving with intuition, right? So your body knows what it needs to kind of loosen and warm up and check in. So moving whichever way you need to. Right? Maybe you're raising up a leg, maybe you're cracking the toes. Very nice. All right, a few more moments here. And then from here, we'll toe heel the feet to mat width distance. Pinky toes on the edges of your mat. Take your right hand, reach under the body, grab the outside of your left calf, and pull your chest towards the left side of your mat. Almost like you're sniffing your left armpit. Feel the back of your neck lengthen. Take 1 more big breath in. On your exhale, pull yourself, and then gently release. Left hand reaches under the body, pulling yourself now over towards the right. And really use that left bicep to lengthen a little bit of that right side body. Looking up towards your right armpit. Take 1 more big breath in. And then gently release the pose. Slowly come back to your standard downward facing dog. From there, inhale high onto the balls of the feet. And then roll it into your high plank pose. From your high plank pose, listen carefully. Exhale, lower down, find chaturanga. Inhale back into your high plank. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Back into your high plank. 1 more. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga, back into high plank pose, and then back into your downward facing dog. From there, toe heel the feet together. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open up the hip. And then make some big circles with that right knee, maybe rolling around in the right ankle. All right, maybe you want to kind of shimmy the shoulders a little bit up and down, still kind of waking up the body here. And then reverse that flow with the right leg, right? Counterclockwise or the reverse of what you were doing. And then eventually re-extend that right leg, lower the right leg down to meet the left. Inhale, left leg, knee bends, hip opens, twisted dog here. All right, so maybe you roll around in the knee. All right, maybe you roll around in the ankle. All right, but just continue to breathe like you were in child's pose. All right, or your Sukhasana. Reverse that flow. Take a few rounds in the opposite direction. And then gently allow big toe to lower down and meet big toe. From there, inhale high onto the balls of the feet. And then we'll slowly tiptoe it up using the core to step forward into your first ragdoll pose. So in ragdoll pose, we're grabbing opposite elbows. You can sway side to side, right? You can bounce up and down if you want. You can hug behind the knees. Right, for those that want a little bit more lower back focus today, maybe you interlace the fingers behind your head. You allow the elbows to fall towards the shin. And you just allow the weight of the arms without pulling on the head to decompress the lower back a little bit more intently. All right, but whichever pose or whichever expression of this pose you've chosen, right, can you give yourself permission here to let go? To let go of any plan you have about the virus, to let go of any sort of agenda you have for the day.
right? Maybe even to press pause on any sort of fear you might have and just allow yourself to be in your breath, be in your body, and be in your practice for the next hour. All right, with that permission to be present, we'll take a big, massive breath in and a big, full breath out. Hands lower down into the mat. Gently toe heel the feet together. And then we'll just slowly rise up and find that first strong, rooted, extended mountain pose. All right, so arms reach up towards the ceiling, relaxing the shoulders from the ears, and tuck the pelvis forward. All right, so for those that kind of wanted some core strengthening in our practice today, really make sure that when I say pelvis into neutral, that you're doing that, right? That's always a core strengthening movement, right? So tailbone kind of wants to duck out, right? Can you always tuck forward to create more length and strength there? All right, so with that neutral pelvis in mind, lift up all 10 toes, re-stretch them onto the mat. Send that gaze up in between your palms, bring that soft smile to the face. And then from there, lower your hands down to heart center. Right, maybe maintaining that smile, feeling that power of choice radiate through the body. Right, and then from here, can you fill up with intention? Right, asking yourself, like, why did I show up? Why am I doing this practice? Right, or what do I need? All right, so from that place of choice, from that place of moving towards that intention with breath, movement, and the community that joins us here online, take a big breath in. And a loud breath out. All right, inhale, reach the arms up, find Tadasana. Moving through a sun A, piece by piece here, right? Slowly exhale into your forward fold. All right, from there, inhale to a halfway lift, long flat back, just like it was in tabletop. And then exhale, hands lower down into the mat, step it back into high plank. From high plank, shoulders over wrist, quadriceps engage as they lift the backs of the knees up towards the ceiling. From here, take a big breath in. And then exhale, lower down, chaturanga, shoulders and elbows in line with one another. Inhale into your upward facing dog, dragging the heart forward as the crown of the head moves high. And then exhale, downward facing dog, tops of the feet start that movement. All right, from there, inhale high onto the balls of the feet. Step or float, find a halfway lift at the top of your mat. As you exhale, refold. And then as you inhale, root down, rise up, land in your Tadasana pose. And then finding more of a flow here, exhale into your forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, hands lower down. You can step or float through your vinyasas. Right? Know that you can skip your vinyasas or sun salutations today and just step back to down dog when they're called. And also child's pose is there for you whenever you need it, right? Take it when you want it, take it when you need it. Inhale high, knees bend, step or float, travel to the top, halfway lift. On your exhale, forward fold. Root down, rise up, land in mountain. Big exhale, swan dive it forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, hands lower down. Another option for the vinyasa. If you want to add on more chaturangas, if you want to add on chin stands and handstands, right, that option again is always yours. Inhale high, knees bend, step or float, halfway lift, top of the mat. On your exhale, refold. Root down, rise up. One more complete sun A. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Hands lower down, body moves through. Right, keep the elbows close to the body. Make sure you're using your whole hand as it roots down into the mat through that whole vinyasa sequence. Inhale high, knees bend, step float, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Slowly rise up, find that strong Tadasana. And then from there, press the palms together overhead. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, tuck that pelvis forward, strengthen the core there. And then reach your arms shoulder width distance apart. Internally rotate your pinkies in towards one another by externally rotating your upper arm bone. From there, hug the inner thighs in together. Big toes touch, little gap between the heels, and then drop it into that first Utkatasana, or chair pose. Right, so again, right, tailbone wants to move away, right? Try not to exploit the low back to get a deeper bend, right? Tuck the pelvis forward, even if that means you come out of the bend somewhat. So sinking deep into your chair pose, and then deeper into your chair pose. Deeper into your chair pose until we find boat pose or Navasana or Ardha Navasana, right? So if you want, extend through the arms and open up the heart, right? If you need to modify for any reason, right? Grab behind your hamstrings, pull your heart forward, flex or point the toes, but make sure you're maintaining that strong flat back. If your legs are extended but your shoulders are rounded, I'd rather your knees be bent, right? And your abs and lower back also would rather your knees be bent, right? To protect your low back. From this high boat, low boat pose. From low boat pose, swing kick the legs for 10, 9, forehead up towards the ceiling. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. High boat pose, right? Powerful movement. It's okay to catch yourself there, right? From high boat back into low boat, and then heel click the legs for 10, 9, right? Charlie Chaplin feet, toes out wide. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up into high boat. Hold it there, right? Soften the face. Deep breath in. Exhale, low boat pose. Crisscross the ankles. Last one here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Fingertips reach forward towards the front of the mat. 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Maybe butterfly your knees around a little bit a few times, feeling some relief there. And then what we'll do here is we'll begin to rock and roll, right? So creating some momentum between shoulders and heels, right? Maybe you want to rock back and pause and plow if you got a bit more mobility in the spine, right? But eventually we'll meet in chair pose, whether you use your hands or you just use momentum to rock yourself up, land back into chair pose. All right, look down, make sure all 10 toes are there. Take another big breath in, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, hands lower down. Step or flow through, right? Option for the vinyasa, always that down dog destination. All right, from here, inhale, right leg high to the sky. And then exhale your knee to your nose or your knee to your forehead. Inhale, heel to the sky. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, heel to the sky. Exhale, knee to the nose. Hold it there for 3, 2, warrior 1. Softly step forward. Spin that left heel down and reach the arms up. Beautiful. Right, so think about your chin stacking under the crown of your head. Right, so it's not looking up, it's not looking too far down. Finding that engagement of your Jalandhara Bandha, your throat, right, to really spray prana down into the chest. From here, press the palms together overhead. On your next inhale, take a gentle back bend. And then from there, exhale, lower the hands down to the mat. Step or flip that right foot back. Move through a option for a vinyasa. Or step back as always. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, heel to sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, heel to sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Holding it there. Really push down to the palms. Get that left shin a little higher off the mat. And then step into warrior 1. Right, arms reach up. Very nice. Right, and have that discipline to keep the outside edge of your right foot gripping into the mat, right? Really use that right quadricep. Deep bend into the left thigh. Neutral pelvis even here, strengthening the core in every pose. Pressing the palms together overhead. On your next inhale, big back bend if you got it. And then exhale, lower the hands down. Right, slowly linking your breath with your movement. Move through that vinyasa or meet us in down dog. Awesome. From here, let's slowly unplug our hands, walk them towards the back of the mat. And then from here, with your peace fingers, grab your big toes. Right? So, from here, press your big toes down into your peace fingers, but then think about pulling your fingers back up into your toes. Finding those opposing forces as we bend our knees, look forward, creating a strong flat back. And then pull the crown of your head down, fingers to toes forward, fold. Breathing here, yeah, and you can take a few like Katie's doing, right? You can kind of move between the inhale and exhale, kind of take a few pumps as you eventually find that deeper fingers to toes forward fold. Right? But again, move with your intuition. If your intuition says you want a more dynamic expression of the pose, right? Or maybe a more static hold, right? You know better than I do. From this fingers to toes forward fold though, if you're holding it statically like I am, move your elbows towards the front of the mat, like you're pinching a pencil with your shoulder blades. Pull the crown of the head down, breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your big toes, hands into the mat. Slowly walk yourself out into your downward facing dog once more. From there, inhale high onto the balls of the feet. Bend your knees, step or float. Find that halfway lift at the top of your mat. On your exhale, refold. Inhale, rise up, land in your mountain pose. From your mountain pose, press the palms together overhead, right? Not pressing forward from the hips, but more from the heart, right? Find a back bend as you inhale, biceps stay by the ears, and then exhale, forward fold. Step your right leg back into a long runner's lunge, hug the inner thighs in, lift the belly off the thigh. So hands are just kind of accessories here, right? You're not collapsing too much weight into them. The inner thighs bring that lift to the spine. Big inhale, and then exhale, downward facing dog. From there, roll it into a high plank pose, like a wave that starts from your pelvis. And then lower down knees, chest and chin, elbows graze the ribs. On your inhale, cobra pose. And then on your exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg high to the sky. Step it into a long runner's lunge. Very nice. Inner thighs in, right? Light in the right toes, right? So your right toes can lift off the mat. Big inhale. Exhale, forward fold, top of the mat. Arms reach out in front of you, biceps again, stay by the ears as you rise up into your back bend, and then lower hands down to heart center. Inhale, reach it up and back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg steps back long into your runner's lunge, hug the inner thighs in, big inhale, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Roll yourself into a high plank pose, lower down knees, chest and chin. Big inhale pulls you into cobra, and you can take no-handed, you can take big high cobra, or something midway through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg high to the sky, step it into a long runner's lunge. Big breath in, forward fold, top of the mat. From your forward fold, toe heel your feet, hips width distance apart. Very nice, and then from there, travel your right hand under your face, bend your right knee, press your left fist right in front of your toes, and then like you're pulling on that bow and arrow or starting a lawnmower, lead with your left elbow, and then add the top of your arm as you look up towards that lifted thumb. Breathing here, right? If you have binds or birds, you can go for it, right? I'm gonna stay right here, right? Breathing down the outseam of the left leg, right? And if you want to work with half binds or something, right, you can drop that left hand down, grab the right inner thigh, and pull a little deeper twist into the left side body. All right, take one more big breath in here, and then gently release into a ragdoll pose, swaying side to side. And then lower the hands down into the mat, left hand under the face, bend the left knee. So left knee almost touches left tricep, right? And then we're not gonna lock out that right leg, we're just gonna straighten out that right leg, pressing down through the big toe knuckle. Right fist presses into the earth, lead with the elbow, start that lawnmower, and then reach up towards your twist. Right, leading with the elbow, twist this from the torso. Mindful that you're not letting that left ear collapse towards the shoulder. Crown of the head moving towards the front of your mat, or more towards the front of your room, less towards the mat. Right, big breath in, and then release into ragdoll pose. From ragdoll pose, huge inhale, and then exhale, hands into the mat, toe heel the feet together like a zombie. Let's just roll ourselves up slowly. And then draw the shoulder blades back, and let's hang out in true north. All right, taking a few breaths here and trying to bring that same approach you brought into your child's pose or your sukhasana to this true north. All right, taking a moment here with the lips gently closed just to observe the energy that's showing up on the mat right now. Coming back to that breath if you lost the rhythm. Right, visualizing those roots grow through the mat into the foundation of your house or wherever you're practicing, and then drawing that energy back up through the soles of the feet, following that energy as you bring attention up through the lower legs, feeling that scan move up the knees, the quads, the hamstrings, working that spotlight of attention into the groin and pelvis as you scan up the low back, mid back, upper back. Alright, feeling that attention then travel back down to the chest and belly, noting any sensation there or lack of sensation. Allowing that attention now to travel from the right shoulder head down to the right fingertips. Alright, having that attention work back up through the fingertips to the right shoulder head over to the left as it works down the left fingertips. Allowing that attention to travel back up through the left arm as that attention and awareness then travels up through your neck, wraps around the crown of your head, and then slowly bring that attention down to the brow line, softening the muscles behind the eyes, the nose, the cheek, the jaw, the lips, the chin. And then from that awareness, draw the shoulder blades back. Bring that soft smile to the face to practice that choice of kindness. Come back to that specific intention you said earlier, and from that place, big breath in and a loud breath out. Inhale, reach the arms up, lower the hands down to heart center, elbows out wide, bend your knees. Let's take that first prayer twist now to the right. Left elbow to the outside of the right knee, press that top hand down. Hips are lower than your heart, and notice how that left knee wants to sneak in front of the right. Draw that left knee back in space, press down, and then find the back bend in your prayer twist. Pushing your heart forward, looking up over the right shoulder, almost like you're trying to find your right ear with your gaze, right? Or like I could find and look towards Katie with my gaze. That much of a rotation. Take a big inhale, back to Utkatasana. Have that discipline to keep the knees bent. Lower hands down to heart center. Now let's take that twist to the opposite side. All right, so you might need to kind of snuggle yourself in, but then knees in line, hips lower than the heart, heart into thumbs, thumbs back into heart, elbow points high, twisting and rotating with every exhale. With every inhale, trying to get your belly button as close as you can towards that left side of the mat, right? Really filling up through the belly. Take one more breath in, and then exhale, forward fold. From that forward fold, we'll press the hands into the mat. Gently begin to toe heel your toes behind your wrists. Finding this option for Bakasana or crow pose. If you know it, go for it, right? If crow pose is new to you, fan the fingers out. All 10 fingertips claw the mat. Come up high onto the balls of your feet, bringing your knees to the backs of your triceps, or maybe even up into your armpits. And then you're in crow pose here, even if the feet are rooted into the mat. But maybe you want to bring one toe off the mat, maybe you want to bring both feet off the mat, eventually bringing your heels towards your groin, like you're hugging a beach ball with your inner thighs. From there, right, really press down through the entire hand, right? Tendency is for us to collapse just all the way into the wrists. Right, and then holding this Bakasana or this crow pose, right, maybe coming out of it, collecting yourself if you've lost your balance like I just did, and coming back into it. All right, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, step or float back. Option to take a vinyasa of your choice, or to step back into downward facing dog from that crow pose. Very nice. So from crow pose, what we'll do is we'll inhale right leg high to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip, right? And then an option here to roll onto the ball of the left foot, roll to the outside edge and flip your dog, right? From your flip dog, try and reach that right hand towards the ceiling first, and then come into that arch like you're pole vaulting over the left hand or the left arm. Breathing deep, mindful that you're not locking out that left elbow, rolling that left bicep towards the front of the mat. Take one more big breath in, and then slowly begin to unflip that dog, right leg high to the sky. Big wide step into your lizard lunge. Breathe. All right, so in your lizard lunge, hug the inner thighs in, hands drive under the shoulders. Breathe in here, making sure that that left quadricep lifts the back of the knee up towards the ceiling. And then if you want to modify, you can lower the left knee down. If you want to intensify, you can lower your elbows down where your hands were, right? Using your palms and your forearms. And then thinking about like Sphinx pose here, right? So dragging the heart forward, mindful that you're not collapsing your chin down towards your chest, or you're not looking too far forward, right? Maintain that length on the 4 sides of the neck, almost like you're trying to take all the wrinkles out of your neck, crown of the head moving towards the front of the mat. If you want to intensify from here, right, you can always find the bind, wrapping the right tricep behind the hamstring. You can always come into an arm balance if you'd like, right? Just find an expression of the pose that keeps you in the practice, right? Something that allows you to really be consumed by the difficulty, not the pain, but the difficulty of the practice. Very nice. So from this lizard lunge, if you're onto a deeper expression, back onto your hands. Very nice. And then from your hands into your runner's lunge. Very nice. And then from your runner's lunge, standing needle top of the mat. Right foot roots down into the earth, hug the inner thighs in. Left big toe turns towards the right side of your mat. And then from here, you can grab your calf or ankle with one or both hands. But the closer your forehead gets to the right shin, the more we're asking of the out seam of the right leg, the IT band, some of that piriformis area. Right, so kind of choose accordingly. Option to take handstand hops here too if you wanted. It's in your practice. Right, breathe. From your standing needle, right, or if it's anything like mine, more of a standing L, take a big breath in, and then back into your runner's lunge. Very nice, awesome. All right, so from your runner's lunge, hands down, inhale right leg to the sky, and then wiggle out that right leg, just kind of moving around that prana, moving around some of that lactic acid you might have built up in that sequence. Lower the right leg down, inhale left leg to the sky, knee bends, hip opens, right? Keep the shoulders square as much as you can, right? And if you're flipping your dog, come up high onto the ball of the right foot, roll to the outside edge, heel of the palm, heel of the foot in line, heart reaches, and then we arch and open the front body, right? Externally rotating that right arm, breathing deep. And then like you're hugging an imaginary yoga block with your inner thighs, right? Hug in, feel that pelvic floor connection. Slowly begin to unflip that dog. Inhale, left heel big high to the sky. Stepping into a lizard lunge. Breathe. Same options for lizard lunge here on the left side, right? So, right, in my practice, my left hip's a little tighter than my right. Chances are one hip's tighter than the other in your practice as well. Right? Try not to cram a square peg in a round hole. Right? Find the expression here on this side that allows you to once more stay grounded in the body, focused on the breath, and moving towards that intention you set a little while ago. All right? Whatever that means for your practice. Different for most, different for everyone. All right, so intensifying if you'd like, modifying if you need, maybe by lowering that right knee down. But try not to roll to the pinky edge of that left foot. Still hug the inner thighs in. Breathing deep here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly back onto your palms from that lizard lunge into a runner's lunge. From that runner's lunge, make sure that that left ankle's under the knee, and then we'll press into our big, strong standing needle, right, or standing L, right? Hug the inner thighs in, right toes, right? Try not to let them open like they're coming into Ardha Chandrasana. Think about internally rotating that right thigh, squaring off the hips, and then deepening the stretch from there. All right, maybe you have the courage to come into a little bit of balance today, right? Don't be afraid to fall out. Right? Don't be afraid to catch yourself, right? Breathe. We're here to practice. We're not here to perform anything. Right? So from here, take one more big breath in, and then back into your runner's lunge. Very nice. From your runner's lunge, inhale that left leg high to the sky, and then wiggle that left leg out. Awesome. From there, big toe lowers down to meet big toe. Inhale high onto the balls of the feet, knees bend, step or float, halfway lift, top of the mat. From there, exhale, forward fold. Root down, rise up, strong mountain pose is where we'll land. And then a big exhale into your forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, hands lower down. Option to step back into down dog like I'll do. Right, or maybe you want to take a vinyasa like Katie's doing. Right, no wrong options, no wrong approaches. Right, from downward facing dog, now we'll find dolphin. All right, so per request, here comes dolphin. We're going to lower the forearms down. Dolphin's a difficult pose in my practice, right? So if you are more open in the shoulders and you have a forearm balance practice, dolphin is the foundation for that. You can slowly begin to walk the toes up towards the forehead, eventually stacking the hips over the shoulders, and then eventually stacking the heels over the hips over the shoulders in your Pincha Mayurasana or forearm balance. Right, but that's not in my practice, right? So look down in between the shins, right? Feel the back of the neck lengthen. Try not to look in between the palms so much. If you're looking to intensify this pose from dolphin and you don't have a forearm balance, option to take dolphin push-ups. So you'd roll into a forearm a forearm plank, tap your forehead down, and then press it back into dolphin. Right? And then you can move on your breath from there. Those are pretty intense, right? So if you did one and that doesn't feel like a good idea, chances are it's not a good idea. Holding this dolphin pose for a few more breaths. Right, really pressing the heart towards the big toes for 5, 4, 3, 2. Downward facing dog. Big powerful tricep extension gets you there. Very nice. From here, unplug your hands once more. Walk them towards the back of your mat. And then we'll find gorilla pose, right? Another great pose to dig into the low back. Again, per some of you guys requesting that today. Stand onto your hands, toes towards your wrists. right? And it's not stand on your hands, toes towards your fingers. Stand on your entire palm. From there, press your fingers up into your palms and your toes into your palms, right? Find that balance of opposites there. Bend your knees, look forward, create that strong flat back. And then use the power of your arms, lats, and back to pull the crown of your head down, right? Breathing deep into the posterior chain of the body. With every inhale, can you feel that breath enter through the crown of the head? Feel it fill up your spine like a straw. And then with every exhale, can you feel that air release through the soles of the feet? Right? And then keep cycling that air through center line. Breathing with your entire body, not just your nose and lungs. And staying embodied on the mat for another 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently release that gorilla pose, right? Hands into the mat. Gently begin to walk yourself back out into a high plank pose. From high plank pose, drop the heels towards the left side plank. Left arm reaches or roots under the face. Right arm reaches high towards the sky. Staying here, right? Holding your side plank. Or maybe you want to take that extended side plank, reaching your right arm up and over, right? But not shrugging that shoulder up to the ear. Still creating space between the bicep and the side of your face. Inhale, reach that right arm back to the sky. If you went extended, back into your high plank pose. From your high plank pose, right hand drop, or roots, heels drop, left arm reaches. Breathing into this side plank, feeling that right oblique, raise the left hips. And yeah, maybe like Katie, take that tree expression with the legs. Maybe you lift the leg, or maybe you modify and lower that right knee down. Again, no bad option, right? Just make sure you're listening to what your body, your mind needs here. Awesome. If you went extended or reach back up towards that classic side plank, back into a high plank pose. Very nice. From that high plank pose, lower down knees, chest and chin. On your inhale, pull it into a cobra pose. On your exhale, back into your crocodile or belly shavasana. Looking towards your right, thumbs graze the thighs, big toes touch and heels drop away from one another. Right, and then bring that same observational quality to your practice that you did in that first child's pose, that you did in True North. Right, just checking in with whatever's showing up on the mat for you and really kind of turning towards it. Right, not trying to change whatever is going on, just embracing it and having that courage to fully feel whatever's showing up on the mat. Right, so switching cheeks, looking the other way. I'll keep my left cheek on the mat just so you might be able to hear me a little better. Right, and then from that checking in, again, coming back to the breath, feeling that breath enter and exit the body. Right, feeling the low back lift as the belly pushes down, feeling that exhale as you surrender and get a little heavier into the mat. Right, and then from that breath awareness, now again, expanding that awareness into the entire body. Feeling that power of choice as you feel the boundaries of your skin. Feeling where you're in contact with the mat. And then from that expanded awareness, choosing if you'd like to bring that soft smile to the face. Right, and then from that feeling, what do you want to do with the floor sequence? Coming back to that specific intention, right, and course correcting to it throughout the practice. All right, from here, we'll take that big breath in together and a big loud breath out. Awesome. Hands into the mat. We'll slowly press ourselves back into a cobra pose. Very nice. And then keeping the knees together, the inner thighs together, sit back into child's pose. All right, so from child's pose, option to hang out here. Maybe you want to reach the arms towards the heels. All right, resting your chin or the side of your face into the mat. Or your forehead stays. All right, we're pretty close to rabbit. So if you want to take rabbit and dig more into the shoulders and back, you can reach and grab the heels by the outer sides or the outer edges of the feet. And then you might not be able to hear me too loudly, but I'll try and speak as loudly as I can. Bring your forehead to connect to your knees. Once your forehead and your knees connect, slowly begin to shift weight into the crown of your head. As you begin to roll your elbows away from your spine, opening up the scapula, feeling the traps release.
And then like you're a dolphin and you had a dorsal hole, right? Breathe in and out through that upper back, that mid back for 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release your rabbit if you took it. And then from here, hands under shoulders. And then press yourself back into a hero's pose. Right, so from hero's pose, if this hurts your knees, right, it's too much flexion for your knees, this is a great pose to grab a block, right? You put that block under your pelvic floor, under your pelvis or your perineum, right? And then you just sit on the block if that's too much for your knees, right? But we'll sit in hero's pose here together. Block is there if you need it, right? And then from here, right, tailbone kind of wants to duck out. We can strengthen the core even in this pose by tucking the pelvis forward, stacking the shoulders over the hips, drawing the shoulder blades back, right? And then I'll orient more towards the front of the mat here because we're going to dig into the neck and release tension, right? Stressful time, COVID-19 and this whole situation going on, right? We carry tension, we carry fear in the shoulders naturally here, right? So this is a sequence of poses you can do whenever. You don't have to be in your practice per se, right? So from here, make that sort of Star Trek live long and prosper sign with your right hand. Allow that V of the finger to frame the ear, right? The left ear. And then we're not going to crank on that right ear. We're just going to allow the weight of the right arm to drop the right ear towards the shoulder. Think about slowly pressing the side of your head up into your right palm. And then you might need to find a sweet spot with the chin, right? So you might need to kind of orient towards a different side, right? Looking more up or looking more down, but really feel that stretch down the outside edge of the left neck or left side of your neck. Right? Maintaining that strong core even here for 3, 2. Gently release, allow your head to just kind of travel back towards neutral, kind of noticing how it does it on its own. Pretty cool feeling. And then from here, again, live long and prosper, right? Allow those fingers to frame that right ear, and then allow that neck to fall towards the left shoulder. Right, not cranking down. It's really just the natural dead weight of that left arm, allowing the outside of the neck to decompress, to lengthen, to strengthen. Slowly release, hand comes back. And then from here, right, we're going to interlace the fingers, right, and then allow those fingers to travel behind the head, right, and then kind of like an abdominal crunch, but we're not going to use our arms, right, we're just going to allow ourselves to set our gaze down towards the thighs, allow the elbows to point down towards the mat, and then press slightly the back of your head up into the palms, and feel all of that tension with every exhale melt out of the traps, as you surrender any sort of rigidity in the shoulders, right? Maybe even here on the exhale, right? Visualizing letting go of any sort of fear or anxiety about where we're at right now, even if it's just for the fleeting moment, right? And then from that place, take a big breath in and a full breath out. Gently undo the bind, allow the head to travel back up towards neutral. Very nice. And then from here, we'll stand onto our shins, right? So you might need a little assistance from the hands. I do. And then from here, we're going to take camel, right? So peak heart opener here, right? So hands come to the lower back, right? Like you're pinching a yoga block with your elbows, right? Notice how the elbows kind of want to flare out, right? Let's pinch the elbows together like they're hugging a yoga block, right? And then from there, we'll come into our camel pose, right? So push the heart forward and point the elbows back, right? Try and bring that underbite to your jaw. Think about being like a British bulldog or, pushing the chin up towards the ceiling, right? And then from there, opening up the chest. And if you can, right, reach back and grab the heels. But if reaching back and grab the heels keeps you back, right, maybe come back out of it. But if you can pull forward, right, allow yourself to pull forward and then open up the chest, feeling that heart kind of crack open towards the ceiling for another 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly release the pose from here, tabletop. Hands into the earth. Let's bring some relief to that low back. We just used it a lot, right? So let's inhale, drop the belly, look up, find cow.
Exhale,
Press, arch and round it into cat. Inhale, drop the belly, look up,
find cow. Exhale,
press, arch and round it into cat. Very nice. And then from there, back into a tabletop pose. Tuck the toes under, downward facing dog, right? And the knees are just flexed a whole bunch, right? So you might need to kind of pedal the knees like you did in that first down dog, or move in any way you need. Awesome. Right, from this down dog, reaffirm all those points of connection. So fan the fingers out, thumb, index, middle finger, knuckle down, rolling the biceps forward as you externally rotate the upper arm bones, driving the chest down towards the toes. And then can you disappear the heels behind the toes, bringing that slight internal rotation of the thighs. And then no matter if your heels are down towards the mat or not, can you think about lifting your toes towards your shins, engaging your entire body, and then breathing just like you were in child's pose. From there, inhale, right leg high to the sky. Right, bend your knee and open your hip. And then bring your right knee to your left elbow, finding fallen triangle. Right, extend through the right leg, right toes in line with your right hand. And then shift weight into your right hand as you push up towards the ceiling. Another option to take that extended version of your fallen triangle, or maybe you take that stacked version. And some of you like to kind of like open up the heart, right? Almost like a little flip dog hybrid here, right? But push the groin higher towards the ceiling as you take one more big breath in. And then listen carefully, slowly lower that left hand down, and then gently drag that right knee behind the right wrist, finding a half pigeon prep. Point the left toe straight back, right? Don't have that tendency to just collapse down, right? I'd rather you walk your hands back towards your hips, hug the inner thighs in, point the left toes back. And then you're light in your hands, right? Let the left shin drive down into the earth. Inhale, maybe you reach the arms up or interlace the hands behind the low back, right? But whatever you need to do to lead with your heart, maybe it's just that spider crawl forward, right? And then allow your forehead to be the last thing to arrive to the earth. Beautiful. All right, so as you slowly begin to find that half pigeon or double pigeon, a mermaid, figure four on your back, just some hip focused work. Right, chances are, whatever's showing up for you on the mat right now, right, are the habits of mind that rear their head when you're asked to do something or be in some place you don't want to be. All right, so chances are for most of us with quarantine or whatever it may be, we're in situations we don't want to be in. Right, and the situation isn't going to change. Half pigeon isn't going to change, but your perspective can. Right, and your perspective is best managed in this practice by focusing on the breath. Right, taking this pose one breath at a time as you follow each inhale and exhale in and out of the body. Right, and then the second when your mind kind of goes to the discomfort and focuses on not wanting to be here, can you be kind to yourself, right? Can you bring that soft smile to the face? Honor the fact that you're practicing perspective here and come back to the breath. Right, over and over and over again. That's part of the benefit of this yoga. Right? And if all of that sounds like too woo-woo or too much for you, then just stay in the hips. Focus on opening up the muscles there. Right? Allowing the physicality to kind of be the gateway drug of the practice. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Slowly walking your hands back up towards your hips. Tuck the left toes under. Inhale, right leg high to the sky. Shake and wiggle that right leg out. And then lower that right leg down. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Very nice. Bring left knee to right elbow. Falling triangle. Extend, push, lift, and reach. Right? Maybe you reach forward. Maybe you reach more towards the left side of your mat. Right? But find something that kind of makes sense, that allows you to kind of feel the power of your body as you take up as much space as you can. For 3, 2, 1. Right hand lowers down slowly, right? Be careful with your abdominal wall here. Bring that left knee to the left wrist. Pointing the right toe straight back, squaring off the hips as much as you can in your half pigeon. Right, and then again, forehead is the caboose, heart leads the train as you slowly pull in
to that half pigeon station or double pigeon, whatever it is. Slowly pull into your pose of choice. All right, another opportunity here on the left side, just to observe what shows up. All right, not to judge what shows up or evaluate what shows up as right or wrong. All right, but having that kind curiosity to your approach right now. Focusing on the breath, hanging out here for a few more. Slowly begin to walk the hands back towards the hips. And then from here, we'll just roll onto the left hip. We'll swing both legs forward, neutralizing the back of the body and the hips a little bit here. So what we'll do, right, is we'll take the hands, pull the butt cheeks apart from one another. Make sure we're sitting more kind of firmly and rooted into the hips. And then take your hands, internally rotate your thighs, right? Kind of internally rotate with the hands, right? Manipulate the thighs there. And then using your quads, lift your heels off the mat. Inhale, big reverse swan dive in the upper body, and then big swan dive forward into your Paschimottanasana. Right, and so maybe you can reach more far forward, right? But maybe your Paschimottanasana looks more like hands on shins or hands on thighs, right? But make sure it's a hinging from the heart, not a rounding, right? A rounding just so you can reach forward, right? Is really not the approach we're going for here. We're trying to lengthen and strengthen simultaneously. Lengthening the back of the body, strengthening some of the muscles in the upper body, right? And then strengthening our diaphragm as well, that big fanned muscle of respiration, allowing it to move up and down the body in this forward fold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release, hands walk back up the shins, and then from here, scoot the groin towards the heels. Grab the front of the shins and just kind of roll on back. All right, if you got more time and you want to take a plow sequence here, go for it. All right, we've done a lot of back bending, forward folding, so you're good. Awesome, and then from here, what we'll do is we'll allow the feet to travel back down into the mat. And then option in our supine twist here today to take a Garudasana or an eagle bind variation. So allowing that right knee to stack on top of the left thigh. Maybe you take that right foot and you wrap it around the left calf. I can't quite bind, right? So if you can, go for it. If you can't, it's fine. Tuck the left hip under, drop the bound legs over towards the left, reach that right arm away from the body, right, and keep your shoulders rooted. Maybe you take your left hand and you just allow the natural weight of your left arm to bring a bit more spinal rotation to the lower back. And almost like you're trying to press your right face cheek into the earth. Right? Twist from the whole spine. Slowly come back towards center, very nice. Hug both knees into your chest, just kind of neutralize a little bit. And then lower the feet back down into the earth. Left knee now travels on top of the right thigh. Maybe you wrap around with the left foot around the calf or ankle. Tuck that right hip under, drop those bound legs over, and then reach away. Slowly come back towards center. From there, hug both knees into your chest. Very nice. And then we'll find happy baby, reaching up, grabbing the outsides of your feet. Right, and the tendency I see a lot, right, is for the tailbone to fully pull off the mat here with a lot of you all. Right, can we have the discipline to keep the low back rooted and then press the tailbone so firmly down into the earth that the lower back kind of lifts off the mat? And then think about your arms pulling your knees down towards either side of your ribs. And then if you want, right, you can open up the legs and take like an Upavishta variation. You can pull yourself side to side if you like to kind of move here. Or you can hold stillness. Very nice. Breathing in your child's pose. Just kind of feeling that hip mobility you've earned over a practice. From there, taking one more big breath in. And then gently release into your Shavasana, your Supta Baddha Konasana. All right, so I'll take Supta Baddha Konasana. Katie will take Shavasana. All right, and from these two options of a final resting pose, can you let go of that management of your breath for now? All right, allowing your breath just to return to its natural, normal cadence. All right, if you're in Supta Baddha Konasana like I am, resting one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Welcoming in that concept that you have everything between your two hands that you need to handle anything that comes your way. If you're in Shavasana, feeling your body with every natural exhale get a little heavier into the mat. And then from that rooted feeling or that practice sense of kindness, can you now just let go of any management of your thoughts? All right, letting your mind wander wherever it needs to and defusing from it. Right, just kind of naturally following that mind where it goes with a kind curiosity. Like I said yesterday, like you're bringing your mind to the dog park. You're letting your mind off the leash. And you're not chasing your mind around trying to make sure that it's obeying and doing the right or wrong thing. You're just allowing yourself to sit on the bench and observe where your mind naturally goes. With trust, with kindness, and with patience. So with that approach in mind, giving you a few moments of silence in this brief Shavasana or Supta Baddha, just to kindly observe where your mind goes. If you have more time, allow yourself to stay in this final rest for longer. Right? Give yourself more time of observation. Give yourself more practice kindness. Right? But for the sake of the power hour that we have together, if you don't have any more time, let's slowly just start to reanimate our bodies with deeper breaths. Wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe rocking the head side to side, bringing that gentle smile to the face. Right, allowing yourself to draw the knees gently in towards the chest, and then from there rolling to your right or left side as you find the fetal pose. Right, in fetal pose, bringing that attention back to where you're in contact with the mat, right? So like, where do you end? Where does the mat begin? Right, and then from there, slowly pressing yourself up into a cross-legged seated position, right around the top of your mat, and try to keep your eyes closed. Legs can cross however they want, right? It can be half lotus, full lotus, crisscross applesauce, doesn't matter, right? Hands rest wherever they want. Right? I prefer one hand on my heart, one hand on top of that, allowing the elbows to fall to my side as I push my heart into my palms. And then as I use my palms to really push that sense of gratitude and kindness back into my heart, allowing that to radiate through my body with deep breath. Taking a moment to observe the benefit of your practice. Right, from there, thumbs can rise to forehead center. Always grateful for the practice, the community, everyone that joined us online. Right, and from that place, we all have the opportunity to say, Namaste. Namaste. Thanks for joining us. Keep tuning in, and we'll keep these things going through this time.